I sit in my apartment on a quiet Sunday afternoon, looking out the window at a family walking by. A father, a mother, two kids laughing. Something I used to have. Something I thought would always be there. My life was perfect once. I had parents who loved me, a bright future ahead, and dreams that felt within reach. Until one lie destroyed everything. Until the people who were supposed to protect me became the ones who hurt me most. Until I learned that family is not always about blood. Before I tell you how one false accusation turned my family into strangers, I would love to know where you are watching from. Please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about rebuilding from betrayal. Now let me take you back to the night everything fell apart. I was 22 years old, a senior at a well-respected university studying computer science. My grade point average was 3.8. I had worked hard for 4 years, staying up late in the library, sacrificing weekends and social events to build something real. And it paid off. I received an internship offer from a major tech company in Seattle, the kind of opportunity people dream about, the kind that changes your life. I was 3 months away from graduation, 3 months away from walking across that stage and starting my career. I lived with my parents in a 2-story house in the suburbs. My father, David, was a retired engineer. Quiet, practical, the kind of man who fixed things with his hands and showed love through actions rather than words. My mother, Linda, taught elementary school. She was warm, nurturing, always baking cookies on Fridays and asking about my day. We were close. Not perfect, but close. We ate dinner together most nights. We talked about my future, about the apartment I would rent in Seattle, about how proud they were. Friday nights were our tradition. Mom cooked my favorite meal, pot roast with mashed potatoes and green beans. Dad would tell stories about his engineering days, and I would talk about my classes, my projects, the things I was learning. It felt safe. It felt like home. That particular Friday in late February, everything seemed normal. We laughed. We planned. I told them about my final project, a software application I was developing. Dad nodded, impressed. Mom beamed. I went to bed that night feeling grateful. Then Brianna arrived. Brianna was my cousin, 19 years old, the daughter of my mother's older sister. My aunt had passed away 2 years earlier from cancer, and Brianna had been living with our grandmother in another state. I had not seen her much growing up. Different states, different lives. But one Wednesday afternoon she showed up at our door with 2 suitcases and a sad smile. She told my mother she wanted to reconnect with family, that she felt lost without her mom, that she needed a place to stay for a few weeks. My mother, soft-hearted as always, agreed immediately. How could she say no to her dead sister's daughter? How could she turn away family? Brianna moved into the guest room that same day. From the beginning, something felt off. Brianna looked at me differently, not like a cousin. Her eyes lingered too long. She found excuses to be near me, to brush past me in the hallway, to sit next to me on the couch when we watched television. She asked questions about my personal life, about whether I had a girlfriend, about what I liked in a woman. I answered politely, but kept my distance. I spent more time in my room, more time at the library. I did not want to be rude, but I also did not want to encourage whatever was happening. The first week she wore thin clothing around the house. Tank tops, short shorts, even though it was still cold outside. She would come downstairs when she knew I was in the kitchen, lean against the counter, ask me about school. I kept my answers short. I was not interested. She was my cousin. Even if she was not, I had no interest in complicating my life 3 months before graduation. One Thursday night, I stayed up late, working on my project. It was due the following week, and I needed to debug several sections of code. The house was quiet. My parents had gone to bed hours earlier. Around 11:30, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Brianna appeared in the doorway of the kitchen where I had my laptop open on the table. She was wearing pajama shorts and an oversized shirt. She asked if I was still awake. I said yes, obviously. She asked what I was working on. I explained briefly, hoping she would leave. Instead, she sat down across from me. She said she could not sleep. She said she felt lonely. She asked if I thought she was pretty. The question hung in the air, uncomfortable and awkward. I told her she was fine, that she should get some rest. I kept my eyes on my screen. She reached across the table, put her hand on mine. I pulled away. I told her this was not appropriate, that she should go back to her room. Her face changed. The sadness turned into something else. Annoyance. Anger. She stood up quickly, said goodnight in a clipped tone, and left. I locked my bedroom door that night. Something about the interaction felt wrong. I thought about telling my mother, but what would I say? That Brianna made me uncomfortable, that she had a crush on me? It seemed dramatic. I decided to wait to handle it quietly, to keep my distance until she moved out. Saturday came. My parents had plans to attend a wedding reception for a family friend 2 towns over. They left around 6 in the evening, said they would be back late, told me to make sure Brianna had dinner. I ordered pizza, left a note on the counter, and went to my room to work. I had a deadline approaching, and I could not afford distractions. Around 10 at night, there was a knock on my door. I opened it. Brianna stood there, holding a notebook, asking if I could help her with a homework assignment. She was taking a class at the local community college, she said. Math. She knew I was good at math. I left my door open, stood in the doorway, and explained the problem quickly. I wanted this to be fast. I wanted her to leave. But she did not leave. She stepped closer. She put her hand on my chest. Before I could react, she wrapped her arms around me and tried to kiss me. I pushed her away. Not hard, but firm. I said clearly, "This is not appropriate. You need to leave." My voice was steady, but my heart was racing. She stared at me, her face red, her eyes wet. Then she turned and ran back to her room. I heard the door slam. I stood there for a moment, stunned, then went back into my room and locked the door again. I could hear her crying through the walls, loud, dramatic sobs. Part of me felt bad. Part of me felt angry. I did not know what to do, so I did nothing. I sat at my desk, staring at my laptop screen, unable to focus. I thought about texting my mom, but it was late, and they were at a wedding. I would talk to her in the morning. I would explain everything. Surely she would understand. I fell asleep sometime after midnight, exhausted and uneasy. I had no idea that my life was about to end. I woke up to the sound of pounding on my door. Violent, frantic pounding. My mother's voice, shrill and shaking, screaming my name. "Get out here right now!" I looked at my phone. 6:15 in the morning. My parents were not supposed to be home until late. I stumbled out of bed, unlocked the door, and opened it. My mother stood there, her face red and swollen from crying. My father was behind her, his jaw clenched, his fists tight at his sides. "What happened?" I asked, my voice thick with sleep. My mother did not answer. She grabbed my arm and pulled me down the stairs. I followed, confused, my mind still foggy. When we reached the living room, I saw her. Brianna was sitting on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. Her shirt was torn at the collar. Her hair was messy, tangled. Her eyes were red and puffy, her face streaked with tears. She looked up at me, and I saw something in her expression that made my stomach drop. Fear. No, not fear. Accusation. "Tell him what you told us," my father said, his voice low and dangerous. Brianna started crying again, loud, heaving sobs. She could barely speak. Between gasps, she said it. "He came into my room last night. He tried to force himself on me. I fought him off, but he would not stop." The words hit me like a punch to the chest. I could not breathe. I could not think. What? No. That is not true. That did not happen. My mother screamed, "Do not lie to us. Look at her. She is terrified." I tried to explain. I told them everything. Brianna came to my room. She tried to kiss me. I pushed her away. I told her to leave. That was it. Nothing else happened. I swore on everything I had. I begged them to believe me, but they did not. My father stepped forward, grabbed the front of my shirt, and slammed me against the wall. "You are a liar," he hissed. Then he punched me in the face. The pain exploded across my jaw. I tasted blood. I fell to the floor, my vision blurring. My mother did not stop him. She stood there crying, screaming at me. "She is your cousin. She is just a child. How could you—" I tried to stand, tried to defend myself, but my father kicked me in the stomach. The air left my lungs. I curled up on the floor, gasping, tears streaming down my face. Not from the pain, from the realization that they believed her. They believed her over me. Brianna sat on the couch, watching. She was not crying anymore. She was just watching. My father dragged me to my feet. "You have 30 minutes. Pack your things and get out of my house. Please," I whispered. "Please listen to me. I would never do that. She is lying." My mother turned her back to me. I never want to see your face again. You are no longer my son. Get out before I call the police, my father said, his voice cold. I went upstairs, my hands shaking so badly I could barely open my drawers. I stuffed clothes into a backpack. My laptop, chargers, a few books. I could not think straight. My face throbbed, my ribs ached, my heart felt like it was tearing apart. When I came back downstairs, my parents were standing by the door. My father held it open. I tried one last time. I am telling the truth. Please believe me. My mother did not even look at me. My father shoved me outside and threw my backpack after me. The door slammed shut. I heard the lock click. I stood on the front steps, the morning air, cold against my skin, blood drying on my lip, my entire world collapsing around me. I had nowhere to go. No money. No plan. Just a backpack and the crushing weight of betrayal. I walked 2 miles to my best friend Jake's house. He opened the door, took one look at me, and pulled me inside. I told him everything. He believed me. He was the only one who did. The next few days were a nightmare. I called my parents over and over. They blocked my number. I sent emails. No response. I went to the house. They threatened to call the police. Rumors spread through our small town. People I had known my whole life looked at me like I was a monster. Friends stopped answering my calls. Classmates avoided me on campus. A week later, I received an email from the company in Seattle. They had heard about the allegations. They were withdrawing the internship offer. My future, the one I had worked 4 years to build, was gone. I had to drop out of school for a semester. My parents had been helping with tuition, and without them, I could not afford it. Financial aid took time to process. I had nothing. I was nothing.